Hello and welcome to everyone to this episode number 26 of Deep Point with GillyCricket. I know some of you might think that the last two episodes have happened on a Thursday. When we started out, this was supposed to be a Friday show, but there's been a little bit of change in the schedule, and we couldn't really keep up with the schedule because of all the matches that used to happen in between. So from now on, Deep Point with GillyCricket will more or less happen on Thursday, even on a match day, because we've decided that we will still talk about cricket on a match day. Today's episode is about what all have India gained so far from the tour to West Indies. We have already spoken about the Test series, the ODI series, and this time, plan to speak about the series, the T20I series where India are trailing 2-1 as of now, and India now go travel to Florida in US where they play two back-to-back matches on Saturday and Sunday. So that is something that we look forward to discuss. Rohan Patil, who's been a very regular guest on our shows on cricket.com, has already joined in and sent in one question. I really like this enthusiasm with which people tune into the show and keep sending in their questions. I will take in his question, but I just wanted to set the agenda of what all are we going to discuss today. It is going to be about the T20I series, Hardik Pandya's captaincy, what all is working out for India, what all isn't, what could be the future plans, etc., etc. Uh, Now Rohan Patil is asking, Shreyas Iyer seems to falter against bouncers and therefore is easy, busy. I think he means to say easy peasy against swing bowling because he's always hanging back, anticipating short ball. I think it's got to do more with the fact that he's not able to transfer his weight. The weight transfer doesn't really happen because he's too much of on the front foot. I think that it's got more to do with that. Swing he can still manage. It's the bounce that gets big on him. So I feel that is purely down to the fact that the weight transfer isn't proper. But yes, uh, mm, I still see people are joining in. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about Hardik's captaincy in detail because I felt that under his captaincy, I know he copped a lot of criticism and blame for hitting that six and denying Tilak Verma that 50. For me, that is not as big of an issue because cricket is a team game. You get the chance to finish off the game quickly, you do it. For me, that's not an issue. For me, what is a bigger issue with Uh, Hardik Hardik's captaincy is the fact that he doesn't use his resources properly. So many times he's bowled more overs than the frontline pacers. So many times when you felt that there could have been some other batter who could have been sent in for game time, he's not done that. For me, that is a bigger issue, and that is something I've observed even in the last two IPLs where people were raving about his captaincy because he was getting results. So for me, he's still the same captain. It's just that the resources are different, the quality of resources are different, and hence the results are pretty much not the same. And Chuchant is right that bashing him for that last ball doesn't really count for much. And you yeah it's something that even I won't criticize him for that, but I just think that as a captain he really needs to utilize his resources a lot better and needs to figure out how to get the best of them. Cricket Shots is asking, Sir, how do you rate Rovman Powell, an underrated power hitter? Just is that he has some issues against leg spin. As a DC fan, you must know that he was not that you must know that he was not utilized well. So I think when it comes to Rovman Powell, he's one of the better hitters of pace bowling in the West Indies circuit right now. He's very good against pace bowling. I remember him hitting Jasprit Bumrah for a couple of sixes or one six in that last game of the 2022 IPL. He pulled Bumrah in front of square, and that's not an easy shot to play to someone like Jasprit Bumrah. So he's very good against pace, and we have seen him, now hit Arshdeep as well, and he's done it to a few pacers, more than a few pacers. So I don't think when it comes to playing pace, it's a problem. It's a problem for Rovman Powell. He definitely has the power as well. When it comes to playing spin, I think he's getting better, but only slightly. In this series, He's played spin slightly better. There was one shot that he played versus Chehel where he came down the track. The ball wasn't as full, and he still was able to extend his arms and hit it for a six. And I think now he's tried to understand and figure out that Against spin, he just needs to rotate strike and not take that many chances, and against pace, he should maximize. But I still think there's a long way long way for him to go to improve as a spin hitter. uh, Going for looking at other questions that have come in. uh, Chuchan says, Paji, why Indian fans say that bring youngsters when senior fails and vice versa? Isn't that Doglapan? It is Doglapan to some extent, because I feel even if India lose the series, if people start talking about bringing the seniors back, it's a little premature. You have to allow the new players who have come in some time to fail, some chances to fail, and you shouldn't really be pressing the panic button after one bad result, right? Because if it's about that, then you will never be able to move forward and never be able to groom youngsters. So it's okay, even if you lose with the new team, rather than going back to the old horses, because your success rate in this format with the old horses hasn't been great, so it doesn't really serve a purpose. And on the whole, fans in subcontinent and India are like that, right? A lot of them don't want to accept that they are favorites, that the team needs to move on from their favorites. A lot of them are also too fickle. At the same time, they will say that bilaterals don't matter, but they will lose their sleep over bilaterals. So, see, that is how fans are, fortunately or unfortunately. But it is up to the team management and the board to not fall into these pressures of the fan groups and fanboys or fans or on social media in general. What they need to follow is they need to have a simple process of their own selection, of their own strategy, and try and stick to it at least for a few games. Because I feel that basis the pressure that is there on social media, on Twitter, over selections and everything, the selectors and the management does give into it sometimes. And it's something that even a cricketer like Ashwin has admitted that, when you try out something new and if it doesn't work out, the criticism is immense, it is huge, and there is not enough support for that. So that does create an environment of this sort where if you fail, you want to go back to the previous players, and it is Doglapan without a doubt. I agree. uh, Okay, Arth Devangan here is, here with three comments. I will read out all of them. He says, I saw your guys' videos of India's obsession with multi-format players. Would you agree that this obsession comes from the fact that all of current Indian test greats like Ashwin, Virat, Jadeja, Bumrah, uh, Rohit and Pant had made a mark in white ball first before going on to become better red ball players? It doesn't seem a mere coincidence that all Indian red ball players made their debut in white ball format rather than on the basis of Ranji Trophy or domestic competition, which also might be the reason behind Sarfaraz's exclusion from Test side. Uh, I partly agree, but I don't really completely buy this line of thought, because if the players that you've mentioned, if you check out their first class records, they had outstanding first class records. Ravindra Jadeja made his limited overs debut in 2008, 2009, in 2009 rather, and he played test matches. He made his test debut in 2012. So it does take time. The one of the reasons why their debuts in test matches were delayed is because India had capable players who could take up those spots. India had Harbhajan Singh playing on till 2012. India had VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid playing on till 2012. Sachin Tendulkar retired in 2013. So there wasn't much space for these guys to come in. They had great and outstanding first class records. So I don't think that the red ball performances, like the red ball selections at that time, when the current crop made their debut, was on the basis of white ball performances. Of late it has become wherein if the team management feels more comfortable with you in one format, they want to give you chance in another format. That is there. Sarfaraz's exclusion from test side to me still doesn't really make a lot of sense, because he should have been there in the tour to Bangladesh. India should have seen him at least in nets and then probably taken a call. And they said that he was struggling versus pace. But what about someone like Abhimanyu Iswaran, who was probably an injury away from making his test debut? He was in your squad uh, your squad to South Africa, to England, to Bangladesh, and he had done decently for India A as well. For him to get dropped and to bring in someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad, in the test side didn't really make sense to me for sure. So what you said, I don't think it's a coincidence that players make their white ball debut first than red ball debut, because one, you also play a lot of white ball cricket first, so there are more chances of seniors resting and you getting chances. And then, like I said, for the current crop, the players that you mentioned, uh, they were good in first class cricket anyway. They had to wait for their chances because India had stalwarts in the team already. How do you find the discourse on Tilak and Sky in ODIs after T20I performance? Does it make sense? I want to understand what the discourse is here. So, if the talk is about fast tracking Tilak into the ODI setup, uh, I think it's a huge gamble. I think it's a huge gamble, and if you do that, then you are essentially saying that you don't trust the players that you have in someone like Ishan Kishan, Suryakumar Yadav, and Sanju Samson. So I am not for it. As far as Suryakumar Yadav in ODIs is concerned, see, like he also said in that presser, his record isn't great, and we all of us know that. I still haven't been able to pinpoint one single reason in his game to say, like, or in his technique to say that he won't be successful. Probably the only explanation that I can come up with is that maybe his short selection is a little too fancy in ODI cricket sometimes, and he needs to tone it down a little bit. And probably bowlers are looking to attack him and bowl those attacking lengths, while in T20s the bowlers are looking to bowl defensively, so he can get on top of them in that format. So maybe it's just how bowlers are bowling to him. They're probably more consistent with their lines, and he's forced to do something rather than get the ball where he wants to, because he's able to play with the minds of bowlers in T20s. So whatever we come up with is only going to be a theory, because so far I don't think the kind of player that Surya Kumar Yadav is, he should be averaging what he's averaging in ODIs. I think he's averaging around 23, and that's not a great number for him, and he should really be doing better than that. Muhammad Irfan says no pay, no gain, only pain we had got from West Indies tour. Only saving grace was Tilak. Other than that, nothing to say. But we have got our answers that our IPL superstars struggle in difficult conditions. Uh, I don't think you've played many IPL superstars here. Yashasvi Jaiswal has got one game. This is Shubman Gill's third T20I in West Indies, and sometimes you can go through a bad run of form. As far as your pacers are concerned, you are playing only two pacers. One is Mukesh Kumar, the other is Arshdeep Singh. Arshdeep is no more an IPL superstar. I believe he's played enough for India. Mukesh Kumar is doing decently. I just think that the balance that India have had in the games for this tour, that hasn't been up to the mark. I mean, whatever kind of 11 that you play, you will not have batting beyond number 7. And then there's the usage bit as well, because in the second T20I, Akshar Patel wasn't bowled at all, and in the third T20I, he did get a left-hander out, and he bowled more than decently. So I just think such kind of a statement is probably extending the criticism a little too far. Yes, there are reasons for for criticism there, but I wouldn't really say that they are going to struggle in difficult conditions. They will take some time to adjust to it, because yes, many of them haven't played in West Indies or are playing for the first time, and you need that some time to adjust to those conditions. And yeah, once you've done it, then you can really figure out how they're doing, how they're doing. And I think someone like Tilak Verma, like you mentioned, has done decently well. So for us to say that, yeah, some of these IPL superstars can do well. uh, we'll just take a moment's break. Cricket fans asking, Paji, how are you? I got shocked after Hardik did not give the fourth over to Yuzi Chahal in the second T20I, which ensured West Indies win that match. This is pathetic captaincy from Hardik. How do you see this? That's what I said. The usage of your resources have to be better. See, I think it was fine to go for one over each of pace, because if both of your pacers who can bowl Yorkers, if they can nail it and you get a wicket, then you really get into the last man, and the Pacers can close out that game. So the Pacers also didn't really bowl well. That is also something that we have to see. But yes, spin against two lower order batters would have been an interesting proposition because they clearly looked comfortable against pace. Maybe the 19th over could have been bowled by Chahal, but yeah, it's been a pattern with Hardik's captaincy. You really can't explain a lot of things like him bowling so much in the power play or in the middle overs, and him bowling ahead of, like, even though Mukesh did well in the 30-20, I felt it was asking too much of Mukesh to straight away come and bowl 2 overs at the death, because uh, we saw this enough in the IPL that if players were coming, if an impact player was coming straight off the bench, like if you had to bowl your first over straight away in a pressure situation, it wasn't easy. And if you have to bowl straight away at the death, it's not going to be easy. You will sometimes not land your deliveries where you want to. So yeah, it's been like that's why I said I've not been impressed with Hardik's captaincy, and it's not because that he hit that six. For me, that's not an issue. For me, his overall usage of resources and not giving enough game time or confidence to the players who are looking to make a mark is a problem. Someone like Sanju Samson should have come out and batted at five today, five not today in that 30-20 because he needed that extra game time. Rohan Patil says most of the new players coming through struggle against seam, swing, and spin. What do you think can be the possible? I mean, this is a little silly. Sorry to say this, but if someone is coming to the international circuit and playing cricket, they cannot be struggling against all of seam, swing, and spin. Yes, every batter has a weakness, and they try and work over it. And there is no batter. There are very few batters who are perfect against each and every type of bowling, right? Even if you don't struggle against spin, you might just struggle against a particular type of spin. So I don't think that all of them struggle against spin, swing, seam, swing, and spin. That's a little too much. But yes, it's a process. It's a process of the sport wherein you do get over your weaknesses by practicing regularly. And yes, you become better. Cricket Shots asking, sir, according to you, which overseas batter is better against spin hitting, Puran or Klassen? A very good question and a very difficult question to answer, because I've been a fan of Henrik Klassen since the time he took apart Kuldeep and Chahal in 2018, where no one had a clue where and which way will the ball turn. And Nicholas Puran, again, we have seen that he's a very very clean striker of the ball. Uh, it's a very difficult one to answer because Klassen really picks the length up, and he's a very good hitter of the ball. On the back foot, he's very good. He's not afraid to use his feet. As far as Nicholas Puran is concerned, again, a very good sweeper of the ball. He really packs a punch. Maybe if I had to pick one, I'd just go for Nicholas Puran, purely on the fact that I feel that when it comes to hitting on the offside, he's slightly better, but there's not much to choose. It's probably 52-48, that kind of 51-41 kind of a thing, at least for me, because I'm a huge Henrik Klassen fan. Pranav Anand's asking pretty much the same question that was asked before this, uh, which was asked by a cricket fan. Pranav Anand says, "What do you think could be a logical reason behind not bowling Chahal 18th or even 19th? I just feel it's too obvious a thing for anyone at that level to miss, even going by what we have seen of late. Uh, could it be something like what Rohit did with Bhuvi in with what Rohit did with Bhuvi in that last show when he bowled Avesh Khan? I thought if we are looking at it as a preparation, giving someone like Mukesh is a better thing. I don't know. I don't think this Indian team now functions, thinking about preparations, because yeah, losing, you're already 1-0 down. If you lose another game, you go 2-0 down, and there is going to be a lot of criticism. So I don't think that was the thinking. I just think he sort of bagged the Pacers to nail their Yorkers, and if they nail their Yorkers, he felt that at least they'll be able to hit two on the stumps, and that didn't happen. So I think it was okay to give one over each to Arshdeep and Mukesh, or Mukesh and Arshdeep rather, and he could have probably bowled the 19th to Chahal and kept Mukesh for the 20th. But yeah, uh, you can't really do much about it. Before I take the next question, I really want to request all of you who are watching right now that please press the like button. And if you like the content that is there on cricket.com, whether it's a YouTube channel or our app or our written pieces, please do share it with your friends and other cricket fanatics, or whosoever you think is really a fan of the game of the sport and really really want to follow it. And yeah, subscribe to cricket.com's YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and please press the like button so that this show can keep coming up on your feeds whenever I go live or whenever cricket.com goes live. Thank you. I'll now take the next question. Shubham Sharma says Hardik should bat at 8 in ODIs. We don't have depth in ODI squad. Include one spin all rounder at top 7. It will mean 7 bowlers. Teams like Park and Oz have all their bases covered and are top favorites. But why should Hardik bat at 8 then? You could simply have Akshar Patel in place of one of the bowlers or one of the batters, and then you can have batting till 8. I mean, what I suggested was that India could have Akshar Patel at 4, with Hardik Pandya at 5, someone like Surya Kumar Yadav at 6, Ravindra Jadeja at 7, and Shardul Thakur at 8. That way you have 7 bowling options and batting till 8. So you could do that. You really don't need Hardik to bat at 8 because that is not really utilizing his batting. That doesn't really solve anything. And I don't think India have 7 batters who are good enough to bat ahead of Hardik as well at this point of time. So there's that. And you can't expect Hardik to bowl 10 overs day in and day out, which is something that you would expect from someone who bats at number 8. Pratik Patel says, don't you think that the dot ball percentage of Indian batters is too high in white ball and they need to work on strike rotation? I think it might have been a case on this tour. I'm not sure of the numbers, and if it's been the case on this tour, it was probably down to the how the pitch has played. I don't think in ODIs it's a problem. In T20s, even if you play, a higher dot ball percentage, you can more or less compensate it with having a high boundary percentage as well. So I really need to look at the numbers of this, but I don't think it's a problem as such. It's only been a problem with one Indian batter, and for me that is Ishan Kishan. But I think in ODIs, because he has a little more time, he gets his eye in and he can then target those gaps. So it really doesn't matter when he has gotten his eye in. In T20s, it becomes a problem for him because he tries to go very hard without even getting his eye in, and that means he's either dealing in dots or boundaries. So I think for this tour, it might have just been down to the pitch and not really a skill issue. Ashwin Jayakumar comes in and he says, I think there have been quite a few gains from this West Indies tour in Mukesh, Jaiswal, and Test, Kishan's in ODIs, Tilak, which was probably the management's objective. The outrage has been needlessly disproportionate. Okay, that's one way to look at it. And, he's mentioned that there are 4 players who've done well, so probably we don't need to, outrage. So we hear you, Ashwin, but I'd like you to go through the other comments and hear what the others are saying so that maybe you can then tune in with your opinion and we can have a good discussion on that. Akshat Mishra says, Namaste Baji. Namaste Akshat. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, please keep watching cricket.com and all of their shows, and don't forget to press the like button. Pranavanand says, it's understandable to an extent when fans sometimes go to extreme lengths to villainize or glorify a player, but when ex-players like Akash does it, it's baffling. His comments portrayed Hardik in very bad light. Pranav, I'm sorry to say this, but I did not read what Akash Chopra had said. If you could share his comments, then maybe I can comment on it, but I haven't really seen those comments. So yeah, it would be unfair for me to comment on those comments without knowing what has actually been said. Shivam Sharma says Harmanpreet's reaction might be a bit too much, but the cause was right. Even Pakistan only brought neutral umpires for home series after Mike Gatting fought with Shakur Rana over his biasness. Uh, See, I'm not sure if that's the right call because there are other ways to file those complaints. And what she said apparently to the Bangladeshi team also wasn't the best thing. Where she said that you should ask the umpires to come and share the trophy. I don't think that's on. And BCCI has enough muscle power that if you want to file an official complaint, lodge an official complaint, I'm sure that there would be action taken. But yeah, hitting the stumps and then saying this to your opponent isn't really something that a captain should be doing. That's my viewpoint. I understand your viewpoint, but I'm not sure I'll agree to that. Uh, Sagar Chandra says, "Do you see Ishan Kishan getting is a chance as a even as a backup opener ahead of Gill, Jaiswal, Gaikwad for the upcoming T20 years, or we have tested the waters enough with him?" For me, India should have started with Gill and Jaiswal without a doubt, and I think now India have tested the waters with him, and they want to give Jaiswal the remaining 2 games and see how he does because he's played more number of T20Is than Gill and others. Gaikwad, I don't think right now will get his chances. Uh, But yeah, Gill has played what, 9 T20Is, and Jaswal has only played one. While I think, as far as Kishan is concerned, he's played 20 odd. So he made his debut in 2021 versus England at Ahmedabad, and he played the 2021 World Cup. He played the series post that World Cup. He was only dropped, I think, after the West Indies tour because he wasn't. I'm not sure if he was a part of the Asia Cup squad, but I don't think he played T20Is post the West Indies tour last year. So yeah, I think India have tested the waters enough with him, and they will give chances to Jaiswal. Ashwin Jayakumar says lopsided balance in this T20Is is also down to poor squad selection. Only option is to play Jaswal and Kishan, but then everyone else bats out of position. No idea why Jitesh or Rinku weren't picked. Exactly. This is what something that I tweeted and I said early on that I don't think that there's a way out when it comes to framing the perfect 11 for India because of how the squad has been picked. Prashant Agarwal says could try Tilak at 4 as a year replacement, left-hander, good player of spin, and most importantly, great temperament. I think Iyer's been out of the T20 setup now, so there's that. But in ODIs, yeah, if you do that, then you are essentially telling Sanju Samson that you don't have faith in him without giving him a lot of opportunities, or you don't have faith in someone like Ishan Kishan or even Sanju Samson. So I don't know. I just think it's too big of a risk. Akshat Mishra says sometimes the fans have to understand the fickle nature of the game where the team will not win every game. And in the process of experimentation, we will falter somewhere, especially in bilateral. This is such a fantastic comment. It's something that, I keep on saying that fans also need to be patient. And I like how Akshat has mentioned that fans have to understand the fickle nature of the game because if you guys who regularly watch our watch alongs of cricket.com, they will know that one thing that I keep saying about T20s is that it is a fickle format. So much so that in the last watch along, I was wearing a T-shirt saying the same. So yes, this is I completely agree with Akshat. It's an outstanding comment, and yes, fans also need to have some patience for sure. Shivam Sharma says, do you think Kohli has a chance in the T20I World Cup next year if matches are at Barbados or St. Lucia? You need a player who can play steep bounce like the Barbados track. I think bounce is only an issue in Barbados, not really in St. Lucia. Uh, I don't see. I wouldn't really like him to come in straight away without playing any matches. I do think that it would be best if India move on from Rohit and Virat in T20Is and ask them to focus on other two formats because India need them there that much, especially in Test matches. So and yeah, by and large, the pitches are going to be slow. By and large, the pitches are going to assist turn, which has not been Kohli's strongest suit. So that's what I feel. But yeah, we will only know with time as to what Indian management has decided. Akshat Mishra continues and he says it is a young team and they will fare somewhere and eventually would know which areas to work on. Correct? Uh, very mature very mature comment from Akshat Mishra there. Okay, our friend Krik KZ Nix is here. Good to see him. He says Rohit Sharma said no one is an automatic selection. Even I am not. We have this thing where nobody is guaranteed a spot. How much do you agree with it? Yeah, I don't think that statement is true because, and I don't think that statement is true for any cricket team in the world because there are players who have had such great body of work over the years that if they are going through a bad run of form, right, you will back them. Like someone like you, we all of us saw what was happening with Virat Kohli, where he was really struggling to put any runs on the board. And it's happened to the best of players, it's happened to the worst of players. And the best of players will always get those backings because they've proven what they can do over time. And yeah, so I don't agree with this statement. There are some automatic selections without a doubt. So I don't agree with this. These statements only look good for media and for fans to rave about, but the reality is far different. We have seen that enough. If that wasn't the case, then there would have been some selection calls which would have really left Indian cricket discussing how could these things happen because that it's not true at all. It's just a statement to pacify those who criticize the team. Prashant Agarwal says, I can see Iyer struggling in World Cup because quality fast bowlers will target him on short ball, and that's why his backup becomes important at number four. See, not all pitches are going to support that kind of bowling where quality fast bowlers can keep banging in short, and there's a limit to the number of short balls that you can bowl. And if, as a batter, you know what is coming, then you are also able to deal with it better. So far, a year when he's played quality bowling in India, he's done well. So even if he fails, he still deserves that number four spot because he's done well in the past and proven himself to be a very able number four batter. Shubham Sharma says, how do you view Virat and Rohit not batting in ODIs? They have to find out number four and number five, but they batted Sky, Akshar, and Samson in three ODIs. No clarity. Uh, See, I think if they would have batted, they also would have probably struggled in the first two ODIs, given how the pitch was. I think they realized that if both Rohit and Virat play, they will not be able to give any game time, and they wanted to give some game time. So the position became secondary. Akshar Patel batted at number four. I don't think he batted at number three. I think Sky batted number three. Samson batted number three, and Ruturaj Gaikwad batted number three. Ruturaj Gaikwad batting number three in the third ODI made absolutely no sense to me because he's a part of your Asian Games squad and you do see him as a backup opener. And I don't think he's in the plans for the World Cup. So might as well should have continued with someone like Akshar Patel in that 11 and probably could have played Sky at 3 and see what he does. I think what they really wanted to see is that how do these players bat in the middle overs, when they come in after a foundation has been set more than the position. So probably, yeah, they could have left Virat and Rohit back and could have rested them, but then I think that they decided on that later. Early on, probably Virat and Rohit also wanted some game time. So yeah, we really don't know what has happened because communication is something that BCCI and the Indian team management do not believe in. Hasaranga's performances in other leagues are far better than IPL. Any reason? Because he don't do well. Because he's done well in everywhere, but not in IPL. See, I've not followed other leagues as closely, so take whatever I say with a pinch of salt. But my theory is that in IPL there are players who play spin much better, so that is a factor, and the quality of batsmanship is much better. And it's not to say that he's not done well in the IPL because last season he was probably the second highest wicket taker, and it was only in this season where he came in late, he had injuries, that he wasn't really consistent enough. He was still able to pick up wickets, but he wasn't really consistent enough. I just think that in IPL teams play him better, and the level of batsmanship when it comes to playing spin is better than what it might be in other leagues. Chuchan says, do you think going two down in five matches is actually a good way to prepare? Show your performance when it matters, prepares you for knockouts. I don't think any team will plan to do that. But yeah, from this perspective, yes, you can probably say that if India do come back and win the series 3-2, they would have shown some character for sure. Uh, Prashant Agarwal asked, "Don't you think batting depth is one of the most important factor nowadays in white ball cricket?" It is a very important factor. Unless you have five quality bowlers and six quality batters who will deliver day in and day out, you really do need that one all rounder who can double up as a seventh batter or the fifth bowler because you want that balance. Because someday someone will have an off day, and in those times you need someone who can give you that extra bowling option or that batting depth. So yes, it's now become more of a non-negotiable. You want batting till 8. 7 is the bare minimum. If you're batting till 6, you are anyway a batter short. Fayaz S says, I just hope they don't try Kulcha combo again in ODIs. We simply can't afford that. And I don't think they will. I don't think there's space for it because one of the spinners will be Jadeja or Akshar, and the other would be one of them. And I think Kuldeep's in the front running. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Chahal is an automatic selection for the World Cup. Uh, Kuldeep clearly is ahead in the pecking order, and we could only see one of them come the World Cup in October. Okay, Pranav says Akash Chopra said Hardik told Tilak to go easy but tried to hit big shots himself. How does he even know what discussion they had in the middle? I don't know, and I don't think uh, I don't think both the statements have any relation to each other. I just feel that too much is being made out of that six by Hardik of him denying Tilak Verma that 50. It's a team sport. I don't think that really should be counting for that much. It's not 100. It was just a 50. Uh, Cricket Shorts is asking, sir, a bit harsh, but who, according to you is the most overrated batter right now in world cricket? I'm not going to answer that, because if I do and if that batter scores good runs, people are going to tag me and say, "Oh, you called him overrated. Oh, you called him." So I'll not. I'm sorry. Sivanang Koti is asking, do you think Pant will be available in South Africa series? I hope so. But yeah, I think if not by then, he should be available for the England series at home. Chris Noon says, I have never missed an episode. I strongly believe cricket in India will never improve if there is no accountability to the BCCI. We need to restart press conferences and not PR conferences. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for never missing an episode. We are really thankful to you and really grateful. I hope you also like all the videos, just being a little greedy, nothing else. Yes, there has to be more accountability without a doubt. That's something a lot of us have spoken on our shows, in our tweets, on our posts, etc., etc. And see, restarting press conferences is going to be in the ambit of the BCCI only. No one can force it upon them, except for the journalists. But then journalists, like you said, they have also turned it into PR conferences. So it's a vicious circle where everyone is culpable and everyone is a beneficiary of it. So yeah, it's a sad story. But as fans, what we can do is that keep asking that question and keep knocking that door, so that someday that door cracks and we have press conferences. Akshat Mishra says, Paji, how do you rate the Australian World Cup squad? Expected on the lines or any surprises? For me, it's Marnus exclusion. I thought Australia wanted to fit Warner Head Marsh, could be a deadly combo uh, on flat pitch. So yeah, so that was a little surprising. But if you look at Marnus's runs, or his ODI record, it's not been great. His average is I think below 30. His strike rate isn't the greatest. So yeah, it's a wake up call that has been served to him in the format. Otherwise, that squad looks good because Australia do have a plethora of all rounders, and most of them have experience of playing on Indian pitches and on most of the venues in the IPL. So that is definitely going to help them. Great case. Paji, if we lose all the tosses like in T20 World Cup, UAE plus Australia semi-final in the upcoming ODI World Cup, do you see us winning against top teams like England, Australia, New Zealand? See, toss is going to be a factor for sure. Uh, India play Australia in Chennai. If India bat second, India would have to hope that there is dew. Else, the pitch could be difficult to, chase down a total on. If India are playing New Zealand, they would like to bat first because in the evening the ball could really swing in Dharamshala, and there's Trent Bolt who could really hoop the ball around. Even against Pakistan, I think India would prefer batting first rather than batting second because in Ahmedabad we have seen the ball really swing under lights. So yes, toss is a factor without a doubt. And if India don't win the toss against these teams in on these venues, they could be in some sort of trouble. Introspect is asking why India is so confident of Hardik in World Cup, seeing his past. First priority should be building a backup for him. I don't think you can build a backup for someone like him right now. If Hardik gets injured, then you try and fit in both Akshar and Jadeja, and try and balance the squad as much as possible. Arth Devangan says Jared Kimber in his recent video said Pant is a flawed batter, but he cannot be better than Gilchrist Flower. Do you think this statement is wrong, considering even the best wicket pick in Test history has only 5,500 runs, where Pant already has 2,300 runs at age of 25. He can easily surpass Gilchrist, also because as an Indian he will get to play more test. He will get more tests to play apart from Australia and England. See, it's very difficult to really say what what Jared said, because I'm sure if Jared said that, there will be some context attached to it. And without knowing what was the context and what reasoning he gave for that, it's difficult to say that it won't be correct or not. Because see, what people need to realize is that better, or say that someone is better than someone or worse than someone, is also very subjective, right? It's not completely objective. You can't really have objective metrics to determine quality. So there is that level of subjectivity involved when it comes to talking about the game, or and analyzing the game. So I'd really would have to look at that video. If you could share the link, it would be great, because then only I'd be able to answer you that question. You can DM me on Twitter or on my Instagram. My Twitter is gurkirat my Instagram is GillyCricket, so you can reach me out there. But right now, it's very difficult for me to comment on this without really knowing what was the context behind it. So I'm sorry for this. Uh, Shivam Sharma says, "Do you think Mohit Sharma should be picked in T20I as a slow ball merchant, considering the next World Cup will be on sluggish pitches in West Indies? All depends upon what would be his form going into the go in the next IPL, because the next World Cup, I think, would be starting in the first week of June. So it would be very close to the IPL, and I don't think India would be playing any T20Is after the IPL and before the World Cup. So too soon to say. 1 year in Indian cricket is too long a time to say, or 10 months you could say. It's too long a time. Anonymous says Park team looks more balanced and threatening the Indian team. Lots of love from Nepal. Thank you. Please keep watching cricket.com and subscribe to our channel. And also please like this video. Shumi Sharma says, "Don't India need an off spinner? Why Sundar is out of the picture of ODIs? Because Sundar gets injured. Sundar was there in the squad for Bangladesh ODIs. I think he was in the squad for New Zealand ODIs as well. But then he got injured in the IPL, which is why he found himself out of the picture. But yeah, now I think India want to go in with Akshar. Sundar's not there in the Asia Cup squad is yet to come. So we'll probably know in the Asia Cup squad if Sundar has a last minute chance to make it to the World Cup squad or not. Just give me a moment, please. Sagar Chandra says, given for Asian Games, Gaikwad was the right-handed. BCCI preferred Jaswal over giving one last ending to Dhawan and his career. Even today, Dhawan today publicly said he was short. Did he? I have not followed, but I think one of the reasons could be that they see Dhawan as one of the backup openers. Because one thing that you have to be clear about with this management is that they prefer experience. They've gone back to Mohammad Shami for the T20 World Cup. They've gone back to Ajinkya Rahane. They've gone back to Chiteshwar Pujara for that one-off test in England. So I don't know. Maybe that would have been the case. I am not sure. But I want to. This comes as a news to me that Dhawan today said that he was shocked. So, and Sagar Chandra continues saying that feel sad that maybe Dhawan could have ended on a high note. I still think that with the IPL around, he could be relevant for another 2 to 3 years, and he could end on a high note over there. So, according to you, the most stylish batter right now in world cricket, I like Kyle Myers apart from his runs record. At present, my favorite batter in world cricket is Joe Root. I mean, the number of shots he has and the way he has the measure of any bowling attack, it's just something. He seems to be batting on a different pitch. He seems to be playing a video game. Other players seem to be playing the actual game of cricket. He seems to be playing some video game of cricket. So for me, Joe Root is definitely one of the Joe Root and Josh Butler, uh, without a doubt. Uh, Pratik Patel says my 2023 World Cup squad: Rohit, Gill, Virat, Iyer, KL, Hardik, Shardul, Ashwin, Jadeja, Siraj, Shami, Kuldeep, Akshar, Sky, Bumrah, Ishan. I am surprised that there is Ashwin, but I think the logic is to get an off spinner into the squad. Uh, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think you have 16 players. So yeah, Ishan cannot make it to the squad then. I am surprised you have left out Samson. I think instead of Sky, a few people would have picked Sanju Samson, but yeah, and I don't think Ashwin will make the squad. Anurag Jha is asking, don't you think Gill in middle order will be better for him in ODIs? I think it would be better for him in Test matches. In ODIs, I think he can manage as an opener. It's not a big deal. Anyway, I have now taken all the questions and I've spoken for good 45 minutes. I'll be extending the show for another 5 minutes if a few questions come in. If they don't, I'll be ending the show. To all those who are watching right now, I just want to ask you to please press the subscribe button, press the bell icon, and also like the video if you've really enjoyed the show. And do share it with your friends and family who you think are just cricketing nerds or cricket fans in general, so that they can also try and make sense of whatever work that we do at cricket.com, whether it's our articles, our social media, our YouTube channel, whatever it is. Please ask them to follow us. Pranav Anand says, if Prasidh is not available for the World Cup squad and Umran doesn't work out, which seems like the case so far, and that Bumrah will be back hopefully fit, can India use him in the middle order, middle overs? I think in the middle overs, India would like to use. I think Siraj is our second pacer after Bumrah. If Shardul Thakur plays, which he will, I think he will be used for a few for majorly in the middle overs. Bumrah could probably bowl an over or two, probably maximum 2 overs or maybe even three. But yeah, that's going to be about it. But I don't think India could really have a 5 over spell from Bumrah in the middle overs. I don't think that's possible. Guys, any more questions? Because I think I've answered almost all of them. And yeah, if there are no more comments, I will end the show. And yeah, for the two T20Is that will happen on Saturday and Sunday, we will have watch alongs. Please do tune in, watch the games, and also join in for discussions. And we will also have watch along for the Ireland series, for the Asia Cup. So loads of watch alongs are planned for this month and the upcoming cricket season. There's also merchandise to be won during the watch alongs by making predictions. And not wearing a merc right now, but I will wear in one of the shows or in the watch along. I did wear it in the last in the last watch along. And if you've liked the show, this is the 26th episode. We have done 25 episodes so far. You can go back to the playlist and watch the other 25 episodes. You can pick up the topic whichever you like and leave your feedback. You can leave your feedback to me personally on Instagram or on Twitter. I try and incorporate it and make the shows far more insightful for you guys. uh, Anurag Jha says, what's your realistic scenario for India in those World Cup? I think they should make the semi-finals despite everything that has been happening. After semi-finals, it could be anybody's game. Suchant says, Paji, thoughts on Prithvi Shaw scoring 200 plus runs, but fitness is in extremely poor shape. Why does he not understand that fitness is important too as a sports person? I don't know. There was this one interview of his that came out where he spoke of how the social media pressure and everything has got to him. And he now doesn't like to go out because if he goes out, there's controversy around him. I don't know whether whether that fitness issue is something is because he's careless or if he has some condition. I don't know. Sometimes your body is like that you cannot lose weight. So I don't know. I don't want to be really harsh on him and comment something without having complete knowledge. But yes, and just one thing I'd like to say is that I don't think while scoring 200 plus runs is an achievement, we also have to keep in perspective the bowling attack against which it came and the level of the competition. That is also very important. But overall, his list A careers is fantastic. I think he has an average. The last I checked, he had an average of 55 with a strike rate of 125 plus. Those are outstanding numbers. Akshay Dadich is asking, Paji, will we win this year's World Cup or will we play a bad group stage exit or a knockout choke? See, no one can predict this, but I think realistically, India should make the semi-finals. Post that, anything could happen. And India don't always choke. People just use choke as a throwaway term for the Indian team right now. But to choke, you need to be ahead of the opposition. India never got ahead in the World Test Championship final. India never got ahead in the semi-final of the T20 World Cup last year. India never got ahead in the 2017 World Cup final. India never got ahead in the 2015 semi-final. India never got ahead in that 2016 World T20 semi-final. So people need to understand what exactly is a choke and what isn't. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to say on this. But yes, I still think India should make the semi-final of the World Cup. So, according to you, the most powerful batsman as when he hits it, fielders thinks twice to touch it. Lol. Uh, Rovman Powell is strong. I am thinking of others. Uh, it really depends on the kind of connection that is made. But I don't think I have seen anyone hit the ball harder than someone like Chris Gayle, for sure. Anyway, this was the last question. I am now going to call it an end. Please like the video if you haven't, and please do keep tuning in to cricket.com and Deep Point with Gilly Cricket. Deep Point with Gilly Cricket is going to happen every Thursday, wherein we'll discuss whatever has been the current happenings of the sport. There's also Monday Night Live that happens with our panel of cricket.com. If you like the content that we do, please follow us on all social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter, or it's called X right now, at Gurkirat as Gill, and on Instagram you can follow me as on Gilly Cricket. So yeah, those are the ways that you can reach out to me. And yes, please keep tuning into this show. This was great. I love the fact that so many of you turned up and asked me questions and just had a very good conversation of cricket. And yeah, that's about it for today. Goodbye. I'll see you on Saturday for the watch along. There's a watch along on Sunday as well, but I may not be there. But on Saturday, you will see me. And that's it for today. Thank you. Bye bye.